All right, we're here at the Bumblebee Tavern to reconvene with the Swarm after running some dungeons in the War Within beta as Protection Paladin. I want to talk about some of my first initial thoughts after experimenting with both Templar and Lightsmith. Now, I'm starting out to say this is not going to be a video to go over what the meta is going to be or what the different damage profiles of each hero talent is, because I'm certainly not an expert with any of that. We don't crunch numbers here at this channel. We just go with what feels good, and we rely on being a good player to fill in any gaps. What I'm here to talk about and what I feel I'm more of an expert on is the aesthetic of each hero talent and how it feels to play. So as I'm going over everything, we're going to see some gameplay footage from the stream I just got done doing, where I ran multiple dungeons and tested each one out. We're going to start with Templar first, because that's what made the biggest impression on me and the one I was most excited to try out. The main gameplay difference from playing Templar from just regular Protection Paladin is it turns your rotation into something that feels like a DPS rotation, where when you jump into a pack, you have a specific combination of buttons that you need to press while maintaining your defensive cooldowns to make sure you don't die. Hammer of Light looks sick, but in order to use it the most effectively, you have to make sure that you're pressing your buttons in a specific combination to get the ideal rotation on each opener. That is a lot of steps to have to pull off when you're also trying to not die and group up mobs for the rest of the group. Templar has an extremely high cognitive load, especially in comparison to Lightsmith. Now, this may not bother you if you are looking for more complex gameplay, but I can see in higher level content that this can be a little frustrating if you don't hit your buttons exactly the same way you want. Another thing I disliked a little bit about it is it doesn't quite line up with your wings, so sometimes you're in a position where you feel like you have to hold on to one to make sure you maximize the other. If these cooldowns could line up a little better, I think that would improve the feeling of the gameplay. So we've established that there's a high cognitive load playing Templar. Well, that's all fine and good. If it looks sick, it'll be totally worth it. Which is the actual main criticism I have for Templar, is that as of now, it looks very muted and subdued. Yes, you do see hammers dropping down, but they start from a very low point and they're not very big. You literally have to squint to see them, and I have 20/20 vision, so I can only imagine how much other people may struggle. Dropping Empyrean hammers as a Templar should feel like an earthquake is dropping from the sky. I want to see them as something so big it looks like it's going to put a crater in the ground. Now, casting Hammer of Light does look sick because it's a similar animation as casting Final Verdict, so as a tank, you're swinging a big two-handed hammer down on your enemy. That being said, I think they can make that animation look even better by emphasizing the size of the hammer as you swing it around. If they can fix these things, I think it's going to be a very challenging gameplay style. So for people who like complexity, you'll love it. But they need to make it worthwhile, because compared to Death Knight's hero abilities, the animations on Templar are severely lacking. We're at about a 6 out of 10 for the look, and we need to be at 11 because Templar Paladins are the ideal World of Warcraft fantasy when you think of a Holy Knight. Now, moving on to Lightsmith. This hero talent spec is extremely simple. You're literally just adding one extra button to your bar and pressing it on cooldown. If you're looking for a continuation of the current Protection Paladin playstyle in Dragonflight, this will be the hero talent system for you. First, when you have your empowered weapon out, it just looks like a little hammer floating around your target, but it's just sitting there and not doing anything. They need to make that hammer 5 times bigger and have it bopping your target whenever it does damage. literally bopping like it's a final verdict hammer, but nobody's there swinging it. That's the kind of juice this spec needs because of how simple it is. Otherwise, it'll be a total snooze fest. And the same goes with the bulwark. It doesn't look like your shield is empowered or anything special. Now, the next part of Lightsmith is that when you cast it, it sends either an armament or a weapon to one of your nearest allies. As of now, there's really no way of feeling like you're actually helping them other than the animation of you tossing a golden item over to them. I don't know if I have a solution for how to fix this, but I do know in order to feel fulfilled playing Lightsmith, they need to make you visually see how you're helping your friend. Whether it's placing a giant hammer next to them and then a golden suit of armor when it's an armament on your buddy, something like that, but it needs to change because it just feels like an incredibly passive skill set right now. And I can't imagine anyone wanting to play it over Templar unless they're looking for an extremely simplified gameplay or if it's just tuned way better. I'm not a Lightsmith hater, and I think if they make these changes, it'll look sick. And if you're feeling like you're having a smooth brain weekend and you don't want to go Templar, Lightsmith would be an incredible vibe out option. Overall, I think both hero specs for Protection Paladin seem like they have a lot of potential. They just need a few tweaks and they'll be a lot better. Now, as an honorable mention, I do want to bring up the dungeons. So far, my favorites are that we've done 2 of the spider dungeons, and both of those looked sick and had good vibes. We did the beehive one, which obviously was sick, and you know why. And we did the Arathi dungeon, which gave me huge Scarlet Cathedral vibes, which obviously is sick. So this has been my first impression of playing the hero talents for Protection Paladin. I'll be continuing to check them out. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, do what everyone else says at this point in the video, and we'll see you.